tell you, when they start working to replace the bridge, the Pass bridge, I mean, every time that happens, it's just a disaster. It's just a major choke point. So to suggest that this passenger-only fast ferry program will relieve that congestion is it's just ridiculous. Anybody who actually looks at numbers and is objective about this sees that it won't make any difference.
Well, Roy, I'd like to see your numbers, because our numbers showed 2,000 to 5,000 people a day, and Bainbridge Island was pretty excited about getting them off. So the Larry Sequist, is he still in office in the campaign you guys are doing for the passenger-only ferry? Where's that stand? So yeah, anyway, I really think the issue is people having to drive to Kingston. Myself, I have to do it if I'm running late. I have to go to Bainbridge to get the half-hour ferry. I just know the traffic will do.
Thank you. All right, so back to our questions. Guy, the question to you would be, will Kitsap Transit promise not, underline not, to use STP funds to fund the fast ferry capital purchases?
Excuse me?
Will Kitsap Transit promise not to use STP funds to fund the fast ferry capital purchases?
What are STP funds?
What? That's a good question. Audience, I'll put that out to the audience. My audience? I know it has a motor oil, that's all I know.
Yeah, that's the same here.
Okay, so.
STP funds? Roy, you got ideas on that?
Yeah, state transportation. I'm not sure about that abbreviation, but there are one of the plans. Part of this plan is to spend $48 million on capital, which includes for vessels and for terminals. And ferry toll credits have been identified as a potential source of federal money to help build these vessels. And if you use those ferry toll credits for the passenger-only fast ferry program, they're not available for other key transportation projects. So by approving this plan, the voters of Kitsap are locking us in to using those credits and denying the rest of the county money for transportation plans. So I think that's what this refers to.
Thank you, sir. Guy, would you like to respond?
Yeah, the ballot says nothing about STP funds. And the ballot says that this will be fully funded from the ballot. So I think it's just people that have a concern and are worried, and it's I'd suggest it's unfounded.
Oh, and we have a challenge. Yes, Roy, please.
So the plan requires a huge investment for capital, for ferries, for vessels, both primary vessels and backup vessels, and for terminals. And will require a large input of grant funds. So no, that is factually incorrect. This 0.3% will not provide all the funds necessary to establish this service at full conception. So it requires a lot of federal funds added to the federal debt. A lot of this money is borrowed. We sell treasury bonds. Folks, if you're truly concerned about future generations, our children and our grandchildren, this is not the type of plan to burden them with. And it just doesn't make financial sense.
So, Guy, you were challenged. Would you like to have a rebuttal?
Yeah. As the ballot points out, it is a request of grants, and it's the same grants that fixed our sewer mains in Seattle and helped build streets. And so, I mean, these grants are pretty common. So I'm not too concerned about that. What I am concerned of is the decline of our economy, and especially when we're in a rising economy throughout the Northwest. And so trying to make those connections and once again keep our community stronger is the better idea.
Thank you. All right, now we'll stay with you, Guy, for the next question, which is, will the passenger-only ferry cause a rise in rents and home prices in Kitsap?
I don't know. I think my sense is what we'll see in the summer months is a great deal of service increase with all the tourism that's going to occur in Seattle. When you look at the billions of dollars Seattle's invested in improving their waterfront and the growth of tourism they have there, I think passenger-only ferries gives us an opportunity over the next decade to enjoy benefits of that tourism here in Kansas.
Thank you. Roy?
Well, I'm glad tourism was mentioned because you know what the #1 tourist attraction in Washington State is? It's the Washington State Ferry, folks. Riding the 1 hour from Seattle to downtown Bremerton. You know, the scenery is unmatched really anywhere. And something I think we agree on, this is the most beautiful part of the country to live in. High quality of life, beautiful environment. So I don't see the passenger-only ferry program as necessarily boosting tourism. The Washington State Ferry itself is a tourist attraction. Again, I'm concerned that creating a competing service will lower the financial sustainability of that service that we depend on, not only to get to jobs, but to get to amenities, to also provide tourist dollars. So let's be careful. And that's one reason I don't support it. I think other people don't support the plan.
All right, next, and now we get into some specific questions about the operations of the passenger-only ferry. You may or may not know the answer, but this comes from our audience members. First question is, Roy, starting with you, will the Coast Guard allow the RP-1 to sail through Rich Passage going 42 miles an hour in the dark?
Well, yeah, that's, you know, this whole plan is being touted as providing half-hour ferry service to Seattle, or roughly half-hour ferry service. We talked a little bit about the Rich Passage, and the reason the RP-1 was built the way it is to minimize wake. And there's a sweet spot in the operating envelope of that vessel. And you have to operate at 37, 38 knots, about 42 miles an hour to minimize the wake. They found that slower speeds would generate a very powerful wake, so that is a sweet spot. And in general, Coast Guard regulations requires boaters to actually slow down when visibility is poor. So if the RP-1 has to slow down when there's fog or when it's dark, and you've got other traffic, there's other marine traffic that operates within Rich Passage, as we know, then it may not be able to maintain that sweet spot operational speed and minimize the wake. So the whole reason for it existing is, you know, you're kind of not able to do that. So that is a real operational challenge.
Thank you. Guy, same question.
Yeah, I don't see, the Coast Guard right now runs all the maritime force protection boats along the ferry routes. So I haven't heard that brought up as an issue. Once again, I just want to I'm just kind of concerned that there's a lot of things thrown out on the table that may not even be applicable. So I have no idea where the question comes from. But I haven't seen I don't see the Coast Guard reviewing our maritime transportation.
Thank you. So stay with you, Guy, in the same ballpark as far as the questions go. The audience member asked, what about the safety of recreational boaters in the Rich Passage with 2 ferries and 2 fast ferries? I don't know if it's more of a statement, but more of a question to you as far as that amount of increase, doubling the traffic with ferry traffic than the recreational boaters.
Yeah, I think well, first off, boating safety, these are all certified, Coast Guard certified captains and skippers. So, rules of the road are very well known, and the routes will be coordinated to make sure something like that doesn't happen. So I don't view that as I don't view that. These are pretty professional people running our Washington State ferries, and the King County folks. The King County transit folks have a 98% of reliability in the operation of their ferries. They have a very high trust level.
Thank you. Roy, same question.
Well, you know, whenever you increase the volume of traffic, the likelihood of something happening increases. If you're operating at 42 miles an hour, 38 knots in Rich Passage, speed is great. I'm into speed as well. I served in the military as air crewman, and I lived a lot of my life at 200 to 400 miles an hour doing my job. But anyway, so yeah, there is increased risk of collision. Speaking to the professionalism of crews, yes, they are all Coast Guard certified. I do have to remind you that the Rich Passage 1 was grounded in a channel as it was traveling up to Port Townsend. The skipper decided to go up the channel. He missed a channel marker and ran the vessel aground and caused a total of $80,000 worth of additional cost, pulling it off the beach and also repairing the damage. So accidents happen when you have metal moving at high speed. The likelihood of an accident increases.
Thank you. This question from another audience member is, your 14,000 commuters, and my partner is one of them, and his employer pays for his ticket for the current Bremerton Ferry. Why couldn't we use that tax money to open up Sunday buses and affecting working class people without cars? I think, Roy, that goes to you.
Well, yeah, this is about choices, and this is the choice that the taxpayers of Kitsap County are being asked to make, although a full choice wasn't offered because there was an additional 0.1% available to Kitsap Transit under the existing authority, and that could be used to expand bus service and access service, extend service hours, restore Sunday service. There were some promises made about restoring Sunday service once the economy recovered, and you see those promises have not been met. So yeah, it'd be nice to actually have a choice. However, the 1% was not put on the ballot, so we really have no choice. The choice is up or down. I think once this is defeated, the board of directors can actually get back to focus on our transit service, and we'll have to consider the 1% again.
Thank you. Guy?
The Kitsap Transit operates the Port Orchard Bremerton Ferry. I think they carry about 500,000 riders a year. As soon as the vote's approved, that frees up money to add another 23,000 hours of bus service in a year. So I actually see this as kind of that'll be a positive. Second issue is anybody who buys a fast ferry ticket, that also operates as a bus transfer both here in Kitsap and in Seattle. So I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot more people. You're going to see bus service actually expand as these people get their cars off our road and start taking the bus into downtown. And so when you look at all the parking lots we have for our riders out like on Safeway and elsewhere, this is a good opportunity to clear our roads of the huge traffic mess we have.
Thank you. And you've been challenged by Roy. Roy, please.
Well, we're getting more and more promises, seamless connectivity between passenger-only fast ferry and buses. Well, there are different. There's Orca. There are ways that some of the regional transit agencies have cooperated to make it seamless. But no, it doesn't automatically serve as a transfer to get onto a King County bus. That's nowhere in the plan. I haven't seen that. I don't know where that comes from. It's just thrown out, I guess. The 23,000 hours, $1.5 million freed up, that's been thrown out there. There's been no firm commitment from the board of directors. And they're not really sure how they want to do this. They don't know if they want to extend the service hours during the week, add Sunday service. There have been surveys, and we know what the economics are. So it's very expensive to add Sunday service, but there's been no firm commitment by anybody. That's been thrown out there as kind of kind of a vague promise.
Thank you. Guy,
Just go to Kitsap County. The Kitsap Transit has a ferry fact section. Just go read that, please, because I'm not throwing shit out here. It's not my podcast.
Okay, I think the rebuttals are done.
Sorry.
Okay.
We're on TV.
If the FCC comes and takes me away, you'll know
I was
why.
just saying
and we'll stay with you, Guy, is a bus service going to be coordinated with the new passenger-only ferry system?
Yeah, I think that's the great thing, having this come under Kitsap Transit, is this really gives them that connectivity opportunity to make sure we have our routes fully supported with this. And you know, when you think about what we see, I own a company in an office building in downtown, and the traffic we get because of all the shipyard workers is really, it's horrendous. Come quitting time, you know, it takes you half an hour to go a mile and a half. So having this, once again, getting these 14,000 commuters off our highway, I think it's a good benefit to us. And especially if we can get them out of the city center traffic zones. So that's good.
Thank you. Roy, same question.
Well, 14,000 commuters off our highways. Passenger-only fast ferry will do that. Boy, I just, that's no, I don't know where that comes from. I think that's just a ridiculous number. You know, it'll serve a couple thousand people tops, and the same people over and over again. Regarding the traffic in downtown Bremerton, that was partly the creation of Bremerton. It's been 15 years since traffic lights were timed in Bremerton. The city of Bremerton has actually worked to reduce the capacity of its roads with the idea of making it more pedestrian and non-motorized friendly. But you see, you know, companies are using larger vehicles, trucks, to get supplies because it's more efficient. Why is it that private industry understands efficiency and government does not understand efficiency? I mean, this passenger-only fast ferry will not be efficient. It's very expensive. It won't do what people promise it will do. It's a bad deal for Kitsap. Vote no.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next question. This is, I guess, a question wanting to get some sunlight on the financing of things. Question, and this starts with you, Roy. Who is paying for Kitsap Transit's open house and other events supporting the passenger-only ferry?
Well, interesting question. I haven't looked into the detail of that, so I may not be able to give you a full answer. What we learned was a task force, a group of citizens, volunteers, I guess, came together to try to improve the plan. We found out that there was some financial support provided by Kitsap Transit to that effort. We found out that a $5,000 payment was made to an individual to help figure out how to gerrymander the county into a ferry district that would not include all the precincts. So I can't speak to all of the efforts that Kitsap Transit and the task force have undertaken and how that's all funded, but so I'm trying to focus on the merits or demerits of the passenger-only fast ferry plan.
Thank you. Guys, same question.
So sadly, I attended those meetings, and once again, I don't take any money from Kitsap. My company, the several million we earn, is money outside of the state, outside of the country. I do nothing but contribute to taxes and helping this place. I spent $100,000 of my own money making sure our Navy is happy and the issues that prevent them from doing their job get fixed. And I'll tell you, somebody maybe made a mistake and bought me a sandwich. Please forgive me for that. And I don't know who got a check for $5,000, but I sure the hell didn't. And the other people in the meeting I know didn't either. So maybe it was some individual who was a consultant, but I'm doing this for the betterment of the community. I'm not in this for any money.
Thank you. And Guy, this question to you is, we have quite a few of them and our time is running short, but let me take this one out to you. Is it fair for each taxpayer to subsidize each rider $20 per trip at the expense of those making the medium income of $38,000 in Bremerton? So I guess the medium income in Bremerton is $38,000. And do you consider it fair that every taxpayer should subsidize the rider $20 per trip?
The subsidy that I saw is, in the worst case scenario, is $14.86. So I have no idea where your subsidy number comes from. Once again, these 14,000 people are bringing nearly $1 billion of taxable revenue into our county. These people demand some attention from us. And this is about enhancing our environment. And once again, I want to talk about our kids and our grandkids. This is about creating an environment where our kids, it's easier for them to go work in Seattle and come back here and be at home.
Thank you. Roy, same question.
Well, the question about fairness, I mean, that is really fundamental. I don't think it is fair. I think about our future generations. By implementing this plan, we are strapping them with a huge burden that will only grow. If you look at the plan, there's no depreciation factored in. There's no consideration for replacement boats. That's just, hey, I guess we'll just use these till they just fall apart and sink. You look at the example of King County Marine Division. They're actually at a financial cliff right now. Their service is on the precipice of going out of service because it's out of money. Despite the fact that it's become more popular, more people are writing it today, the costs are increasing. They're going to look at a property tax levy increase to help continue to fund to subsidize that service. I don't think it's fair. So we're looking at $22 per trip. 78% of that's going to be subsidized by the local taxpayers. It's not fair. It doesn't make sense. Vote no.
So, yes, Roy, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
This question is, has to do with the tax subsidies per rider per trip. And this is from the audience member, so I don't know if these numbers are correct. But the question is, what is the tax subsidy per rider per trip? The answer is $42 per round trip passenger year one, and then $76 per round trip passenger in year 20. Please comment.
Well, I'm assuming that the $72 is factoring 5% per year, probably, with inflation. And that's what we're seeing. Government is increasing, costs increasing 5% per year, but our revenues are increasing 3% per year. So we're outstripping. And that goes to speak to our future generations. I mean, what are we saddling them with, and what benefit will they get from this? I think the benefits are minimal, and they're negative. We're sending money outside our county. We need to keep our money in the county. We have a very high quality of life, beautiful environment. I've met many people who are from Bremerton. They live on Cambridge Island or some other place. There's some other things that we can do to make Kitsap more attractive to our children and grandchildren. We can continue to work on educational opportunities. We can eliminate regulations so that folks who want to start a business can actually have their business here without being burdened by regulation, which we see increasingly, especially in Bremerton. To get a permit, building permit, is a lengthy, painful process.
Thank you. Guy, please.
Once again, I think what I'd like to suggest the audience member consider is what our cost for a Washington State Ferry is. It's probably 10 times for what we are paying in our taxes to fund the Washington State Ferry. And it's really why Spokane and others are against. You know, it's a costly part of our transportation. However, once again, we live in Puget Sound. We're surrounded by water. This is our environment, and these are the challenges that we have to deal with. And when you look at all the other surrounded cities surrounded by water, it's the same issues for them. They're faced with the same issues. And I view this as a pretty cost-effective way of service when you consider the revenue we get from these people commuting to Seattle and coming back home to Kitsap.
Okay, and we have a challenge from Roy, please.
You heard the claim that this would be a cost-effective service, the passenger going fast ferry service. Getting back to Washington State Ferry, it's a relatively efficient service, and just one specific example I kind of mentioned in the opening statement was fuel cost. This passenger-only fast ferry service would use at least twice as much fuel per passenger that the Washington State Ferry does. When you push metal, anything through water, which is 800 times more dense than air, you are going to burn a lot of fuel, folks. Speed equals fuel consumption, increased fuel consumption. So it's not cost effective. It's not the best plan. It's not the best thing we can do to improve our quality of life and our economy in Kitsap. So we've got some really good minds and people, developers, business people who have worked on supporting this. I encourage them to put their entrepreneurial skill and experience into creating an environment in Kitsap where our children and grandchildren can thrive.
Thank you. Guy, you have a minute to rebut that statement if you care.
I'm a naval engineer, so I get the point about displacement and moving heavy things through water. The only reason you can come with a better cost-effective solution to Washington State ferries is because of the volume they carry. Trouble is probably on 30% of their runs they're not carrying any volume. So the cost for that is a big, huge negative. But I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue here is we have a connection to Seattle. Median wages over there are 12 to 16% higher. I guarantee you, your children, your grandchildren are going to be looking to work over there. Why? Because I get more money. What we really need to do is provide them an efficient and fast way to get there and back home so that they have free time to live a quality of life. And this is the reality we face in surrounded by water. This is our community.
Thank you, Guy. Well, that was an exciting round of question and answers from our audience members who asked a great diversity of questions. I really appreciate that. Now we actually go to the concluding statements. Each colleague has 2 minutes to give a summary statement. Since Roy started us off, Guy, would you please begin with the 2-minute summary?
You bet. This is an expansive service. It'll serve about 800,000 riders a year. It's affordable. Tickets ranging from $12 to as low as $4.20 around trip. Once you do this, once you pass this vote, you'll see immediately expanded bus service. These are the right ferries. We've spent over a decade doing the research and development on these ferries, and this is the right ferry system to develop. Traffic will diminish on all of our cross-island commuters. Reliability, Kitsap, King County's transit folks are 98% reliable, and when you talk to Mayor Murray, he sees that fund increase passing. This is an emergency asset. If we have an earthquake, these vessels and others will be serving as emergency assets to give us the medical supplies we need, water, and finally, military retention. We have military provides, Navy spends $6 billion here in our Washington state every year. They're a huge part of our economy, and this is about maintaining the retention of those military folks here in the county. Vote for this.
Thank you, Guy. Roy, 2 minutes.
Well, once again, I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this. This is an important issue. It's been before the voters twice before, and twice the voters have turned it down. Why? Because they did not see it in their interest to actually support the plan. This will not yield the benefits. I mean, the benefits that are pointed out in the plan, I'm going to use the plan's benefits. I mean, they're minimal. I mean, $8 million in one-time real estate benefits, that means an increase in assessed value, I guess. Not $8 million a year in additional tax revenue through real estate. The cost of people's time. I used to commute to Seattle. I know about that whole nightmare, and it's a pain. But, instead of asking our taxpayers to subsidize a luxury ferry service that competes with Washington State ferry service and may have the unintended consequence of reducing the financial sustainability of our existing ferry service, I suggest that we work on reducing regulation. We make it easier for entrepreneurial folks, many of whom commute to Seattle, to actually establish their business here. I've heard of this thing called the internet. We have a fiber optic backbone in Kitsap County, including into downtown Bremerton, Guy, and we're not utilizing it to its fullest extent. I mean, I just find it amazing. And if we're going to provide, these luxury services and expect the taxpayers to pay for it, I don't see an end. And I really worry about the future generations and their ability to pay for all this stuff. We're just heaping services and costs on everybody, and it's going to have the effect of killing our economy here in Kitsap. So vote no on this. Let's put our heads together and think of some other ways to increase or improve the opportunities that kids have. Thank you.